welcome to News Updates on AFRICUNIA Television, bringing you updates from the African scene, the foreign scene and the world of sport. And I'm Deborah Ezeh. A news update today will begin from Rwanda, where 100 Rwandans arrived in the Democratic Republic of Congo this week, claiming to be fleeing the COVID-19 vaccination in their country, have been sent back to Rwanda. The deportees, numbering 101 initially, opposed their repatriation, but the DRC officials negotiated with them and were forced them to embark. In the statement, the Rwandan government said that a handful of Rwandans had left for neighboring countries, claiming to be going against vaccination, mainly for religious reasons. Most of them have returned or are in process of returning to Rwanda, thanks to bilateral cooperation. And in Sudan, the Sudanese police announced that one of its generals had been killed on Thursday in Khartoum while protecting their protesters against the coup. This comes just days after the opening of the UN-sponsored dialogue. Between the different camps, the UN had been trying to get all the Sudanese actors back to the negotiating table for weeks. The Association of Sudanese Professionals, which played a key role in the anti-Bashir protest, has completely rejected such talks, while the Forces for Freedom and Change, the main civilian political bloc, has demanded guarantees that such a dialogue does not seek to legitimize the new regime born out of the coup. And now we head to Nigeria, where the value of capital imported into Nigeria in the third quarter of 2021 stood at $1.73 billion from $175.62 million in the preceding quarter of 2020. According to a report published by the NBS, the data showed an increase of 97.73%, but when compared to the corresponding quarter of 2020, capital importation as well as increased by 18.47% from $1.46 billion. The largest amount of capital importation by type, according to the Bureau, was received via portfolio investments, which accounted for 70.30%, that is $1.22 billion of total capital importation. And still in Nigeria, Amotekun officials of Osun, Oyo, Ondo and Ekiti states, who spoke separately, said they had got credible intelligence that terrorists fleeing military operations in the northwest would seek refuge in the forests of the southern states. Amotekun personnel therefore said they had started combing forests in the region for the fleeing terrorists from the northwest. As southwest states beefed up security, groups including the Arewa Consultative Forum, the Pan-Yoruba Group, Afenifere and Ohanze Ndigbo lamented recent killings in the country, particularly in Zamfara, where 200 people were killed, as well as Plateau, Ondo and Enugu states. The group said recent statements on insecurity by the president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, showed that he was not in touch with reality. Berating the president, the ACF said insecurity had worsened in the country since he assumed office in 2015, despite his military credentials. And still on the African scene, Tunisia's main political party, Ennahdha, decided to go ahead with its planned demonstration today, despite the imposition of a night curfew decided on Thursday. The Tunisian government on Wednesday announced the imposition of a 2-week night curfew due to the surge in COVID-19 cases. In a quick response, the Ennahdha party claimed the ban on rallies and public gatherings was politically motivated. And now on to the foreign scene. China's aviation regulator said on Friday that it will suspend 2 American Airlines flights from Dallas to Shanghai from January 24th after 7 passengers tested positive for COVID-19 on a recent flight. It will also suspend 2 Delta Air flights from Detroit to Shanghai from January 24th after 9 passengers tested positive, the Civil Aviation Administration of China said in a statement on its website. China's aviation regulator has in recent weeks ordered the cancellation of around 70 scheduled flights from the United States. And still on the foreign scene, at least 78 human rights defenders were killed in Colombia in 2021. The United Nations Human Rights Agency said on Thursday, adding that more cases were still being verified. Violence against human rights defenders, environmentalists and community activists, known collectively in Colombia as social leaders, has become a big challenge for President Iván's government amid international criticism and demand that it do more to stop the killings. And now on to the sports scene. Malik's victory over Tunisia will stand at the Africa Cup of Nations despite the referee causing chaos by twice blowing the final whistle too early. The tournament organizing committee met late Thursday in Cameroon to rectify Mali's 1-0 Group F win the previous day after Zambian referee Gianni Sikwaze sparked confusion and anger. Sikwaze initially blew for the end of the game with 85 minutes on the clock, his timekeeping obviously letting him down. But after correcting himself, he still ended the match in the 90th minute, despite a number of stoppages in the second half, including 2 VAR checks. And finally, Harriet Dart came through qualifying to reach the Australian Open for the 3rd time in 4 years as she beat Kimberly Burrell to book a spot in the main tournament at the Melbourne Park. The British number 3 overcame the Australian wildcard 6-3, 6-3 in the final round to qualify for a Grand Slam for the 5th time in her career. The 25-year-old had fallen short in the first round of qualifying for the tournament last year, having reached the second round in 2020. And now that's all we can take on news update today. Do ensure to follow all our social media platforms to stay up to date and connected to our news and other programs. Once again, I'm Deborah Ezeh. Have a beautiful weekend.